Hello Symph, I'm Jimmy Eleazar Mijares and this is my official internship application for your technical position of UI and UX design. So I currently go to the University of the Philippines, Cebu. My current course is BS Computer Science. I'm in my third year, second semester. I wanted to try out UI and UX design, especially because in all or if not most of my projects, I've been the UI and UX designer for all of them. Let me show you my first project. Budget app bill splitter. The idea basically was you would take a picture and the AI would automatically detect the different items and then you could split them. So this was our first app idea, and as you can see, we made our Figma prototype. This is where I learned how to make components and how to reuse them. I was watching tutorials here since it was my first project. This was actually deployed in Vercel. Where pre-used is actually React, and that's how we developed the front end of this application. Here we have Bantugi, which is a community problem accountability forum. So what it did is you would be able to pinpoint an exact location of a map and you would create a report basically. Let's say for example there's a pothole there or there's a flood, you'd be able to create a report, and depending on the color of the pins, it would show how urgent that report is. So we coded this using React as well, but we also used React Leaflet so that we could have our maps integration. This was also done in Figma. So here we have our splash page. We also made a nav bar just in case the person was on desktop. An AI chatbot like right here that will teach you the ins and outs of being a vendor. The name of the app was Palenque. Obviously a pun for like pal. So like pal like friend, then lenke. So friend for vendors, it's a palenque. We actually coded this in React Native and we ended up making it work for both Android and iOS devices. Next, here are some UI and UX projects that weren't developed. First, we have Tutorical, which was a tutor platform that would connect tutors and students. So this was originally a summer project for all of us. This is where our UI and UX design skills were really starting to shine, and we even made different logos for it here. So you can really see the iteration over time because of the locations page where it would show the different locations you could go to. That was an idea that took shape mainly in Figma, and I was the lead designer for this. Bago essentially is an app for restaurants to sell their surplus food at the very end of the day. And before we began with our Figma development, we really wanted to nail the look and feel of Bago. So here, all of these original designs were actually drawn by me personally. So here we have the first iterations of Bago, and over time we developed it into something simple. My team and I concluded that this was the perfect design. I made a turnaround character sheet for our mascot and the different emotions it could have. Just for reference, we have the user end, which was where the products are sold. It really took shape after we got the general idea. We really tried to capture that within the UI and UX of the design. So rounded edges, yellow for the partner's end, which looks very similar to the user end. But this is where the restaurants would take their orders and would sell their surplus at the very end of the day. And we were able to actually develop this using Flutter. We also used Next.js for the web app itself. And over time, we've been contacting other companies like Wildflower and Contis. What we're waiting on now is the reply from these companies. So let me then talk about my hobbies that actually connect a bit with UI and UX design. So I've actually been a digital painter for a long time. So I started during the COVID-19 pandemic. So here's really first look on my art. And over time, I iterated on this. As you can see, in 2021, I was starting to learn form. 2022, I was starting to learn anatomy. Then 2023 was really when I started finding my own style for drawing human figures. 2026, I've been back to doing my stylized work. Here's a direct comparison of me revisiting the same piece. So this is from 2021, 2022, and 2025. It really shows your growth as a person when you revisit the same piece, and you can see all the things you can do better the next time you do something. I was improving over time, and I was also learning through repetition. I was able to get something good. Next, I'm also a game developer. So I also made UI and a lot of art for different games. Specifically here, we have Gorilla vs. Man. At the time of development, the 100 men versus 1 gorilla thing was really big. which was inspiration for this game. Actually designed all the sprites myself, from all the enemies to the final boss sprites to the gorilla sprites, the art, the UI. It was all me. My next game development project, which is Slide and Serve. So in Slide and Serve, I've been the game developer. I did all the UI for this and all the food sprites, as you can see here, where customers would order food. It's multiplayer and you could play it with your friend. When you bumped into each other and you drop your food, it really messed up the whole flow of the game. And it was a really fun game. That's me right there, taking feedback from an actual game developer in the industry. Another hobby I picked up just this April is actually 3D modeling. So 3D modeling also connects to UI and UX development in the sense where you can use 3D models in websites. Final hobby I'd like to share is weightlifting. So this was me in August 2025 and this was me today in April 2026. So around this time I was around 76 kilograms. Now I'm back to 59 kilograms. Not only am I repeating a lot of things now, like I'm doing projects again and again, I'm drawing again and again to improve. A lot of this actually translates to my other skills. Internship in Symph would really help me with that opportunity. You know, learning how the industry actually works and the pipeline basically. I want to learn how projects are actually done, like not just projects with my friends, since I need accountability, that I can do things in deadline, and I need to be able to learn how these things actually work. Let me end this with a quote by my favorite bodybuilder. If when you look in the mirror, you don't see the perfect version of yourself, you better see the hardest working version of yourself. So this is the philosophy I've been living on for like the longest time. If you think you're bad at something, you just gotta do it again and again and again and again until you're good at it. So that shows in my digital painting journey. I've started from 2020, consistently doing projects, doing art until 2026. That shows in my UI and UX journey. I've been doing a lot of projects, not only alone, but with different people, so that I can become the hardest working version of me. I hope you guys enjoyed watching and thank you very much for this opportunity and time. Thank you very much, Symph. I hope to see you guys soon and hear from you guys soon.